Hey, hi guys. Welcome to another episode of the G Spot.
It's the G spot, baby.
When you got to grow.
Oh, you got to go.
All right, so tonight we are having a conversation on whether you can rebuild trust. So, does anybody have 5 minutes of frustration that they would like to speak on tonight?
Yes.
I did have 5 minutes. Do you remember what 5 minutes frustration supposed to be? I told you last week. I forgot what it was.
I forgot.
Anybody else got 5 minutes of frustration before we
Guy,
Yes.
I know you have
I
it.
know.
I got
Welcome back. Welcome back, people.
Welcome back, Nitra and Guy. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Thank you guys. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad.
Yeah, we got a full house tonight. You gotta know what that means.
Yes.
It's going down.
All right, 5 minutes of frustration. I remember last time I was here and we spoke about the part when women should have the potential man that they're dating, to speak to a man in their circle, preferably their father. And the language that I used wasn't warranted. It was just in passion, but it wasn't warranted. But the principle in which I was trying to, or the message I was trying to convey is, which is just a lot of dynamics associated, but for the most part, I believe in self-accountability. So what I wanted people to understand, I just didn't want them to get caught up in the message or the way that the message was conveyed, is that, I just don't deem it necessary in order to have a healthy relationship for someone to have to speak to someone's father or a man in that circle for a plethora of reasons. But I just really wanted to make sure that no one misunderstood the message because of the language.
We ain't tripping.
Love it.
Get that brother, a hand for toe.
Yeah.
A hand for growth. Get that brother a hand for growth.
That's a growth spot.
Baby. So I think my 5 minutes of frustration, if I remember well, I think it was about them baby mamas.
Nah, it
Get
was
it.
about the
Get it. Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
I think that's
Get
what
it.
it was about, because
Get it.
my son was having a little issue and I was a little aggravated. So I just wanted to talk to the baby mamas, the bitter ones.
There's a lot of them.
If these men want to take care of their kids, or even if they want to take care of them because they can't afford to, and they want to see their kids, let them see their kids.
Right.
Amen.
We gotta not do the bitter baby mama thing. We gotta stop doing that. We don't have to talk about the effect that it has on the men, but what about the effect that it has on your child?
Right. Definitely.
I don't understand. I never walked in the bitter baby mama
Me either.
shoes, so I don't really. I'm not sure I'm pretty sure your baby daddy ain't do nothing different than mine.
Right.
However, that part, but I still chose not to. That's just not my character, for one. So I think we need to do some character check.
Right.
Like, don't allow people to cause you to behave in a way that's unbecoming of who you are.
Right.
So I think that either you allowing somebody to alter who you are, or you need to alter who you are.
Right.
One or the other.
Right.
But let's not do the bitter baby mama thing. Let's not hold men away from their kids.
Right.
Let's not automatically run to child support just because it's an option, unless he's not taking care of his
Definitely.
kids.
Right.
But if the man, let's see, what's going to happen is the man is already giving you $600 or $700 a month.
Right.
And then you want to run down there to the child support, and then they're going to give you $250 a month.
Right.
You end up with less.
Right.
Trying to be nasty.
Right.
And you just be cordial.
Right.
Don't do that, because ultimately, for a child to not have a relationship with his or her father, it affects the child in the long run. The man gonna get over it eventually.
Right.
He gonna get up under something else and move on,
Or either have
or
another
have another
child.
kid, and he'll get that experience that way.
Right.
Not to say that he don't care about that
Right,
child, but
right.
he'll find a coping mechanism
Right.
to be able to continue to live his life.
Yes.
Your child, on the other hand, is missing out on 50% of their existence.
Yes.
So I'm gonna need us to get it together, because if I have to keep watching my son go through that, I might go postal, y'all. So y'all
Yeah,
just
well, don't
keep
feel bad because I
keep
have
us
a
in prayer.
granddaughter that I haven't saw. We haven't saw her. It's probably going on 3 years now.
Oh, baby.
So and it's to the point where, just like you said, my son has another child that he is in the relationship with and he's in the house with, and he's coping. He just learned how to cope, but it doesn't mean that we don't miss her.
It's a void.
You know, because we miss her, but it's because of the mom and her bitterness, and it's just really, it's just
That's hard. I couldn't imagine.
It's not right, and you know, and for me, my kid's father, he wasn't the best, but I never went and put him on child support. I took care of my kids always, and I was a single mother at that time with 2 kids. So I just feel like these women just need to stop it, because the child is the one that's going to be affected. My granddaughter is probably affected because
she's going to be.
We had a really close relationship. She would always ask for me, so I know she's asking for me. I know it.
I mean, when the child doesn't have both parents, it's like basically they're operating on half.
Right.
You know, so half is the F on all the grading scales that I know.
Yeah.
And that's true. You also have to think about how many other people you're affecting.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you're creating a cycle that's going to continue and continue. You know what I mean? So it's like, in so many ways, different people are affected. And, you know, as it goes on, you just don't think about down the line how everyone else may be affected as well.
Right.
You know, so yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So that's my.
As a man, hold on, I'm gonna
Okay.
add into that. And one of the worst side effects of being in that situation with a woman who has your child that you chose, that has decided to do the bitter baby mama persona, is when it's difficult for you to see your child, because the stereotype is black men don't want to take care of their children. And what I found, having been in that situation for a little while before me and the mother of my child got on good terms, is I don't know if you guys saw Tyrese have that mental breakdown. Like it could
Definitely.
drive you to that point. And I definitely don't condone violence against anyone, especially women. But I understand the ideation of being driven to the point where you actually want to do harm to that individual.
Right.
So now you have to make a decision, because now your mental health is in jeopardy.
Yes.
So I could understand why men will, out of survival needs, suppress the need to or the desire to see their child, because you're powerless. Because the courts, and let me just say this, I don't know why sisters love running to the court. They don't care about you, nor your child's well-being. And you might think you won, you might think they had your back because they stuck it to him with child support, but they did that because they know it's going to anger him and further probably his emotions against you, that will probably be taken out on the child. Is it right? No. But I don't want to debate right or wrong sometimes. I want to debate like how life really goes. And unfortunately, that is one of the things that happen. I don't condone that.
Right.
But we shouldn't be in that situation anyway. And let me that's going to transition me into my 5 minutes of frustration. God bless the family of the sister Micaiah Bryant. That's the 16-year-old that was shot by a police officer. I'm not going to debate, because I know some people say, well, the police officer responded to his training. They always seem to respond to their training when it comes to us. The training looks different. When the assailant is a non-black individual. So I'm not going to be one of those that embraces they relied on their training, although I do understand, because to me it did look like she was about to put in some work with that blade, and I know if my daughter was on the receiving end of that, I would want something to be done to preserve my daughter's life. I get that. But above and beyond that, my problem is black people, why do we have so much discord in the first place? That scenario, what I saw, I'm sure there was a better way to handle whatever got them to that point. We're getting way too comfortable having discord amongst each other. And even when you go to someone for advice, more likely than not, they're going to further your thirst for discord. We don't have a desire for peace and solidarity like we should. Because to me, I'm wondering, what for children, what could be so wrong between the two of you that drives you to the point where you literally are in a position to try to take each other's life?
Yeah.
And then on top of that,
Right.
now we got to call in white folk because y'all don't know how to behave.
Right.
And so now the world is
Come
looking
on.
at us continuously. The Negroes don't know how to act. And now we have to go come civilize them once again. And it plays into that narrative of slavery because we're supposed to be in the jungle and they had to come over there and civilize us, which we know that that's not true. But I'm just saying, black people, we getting way too comfortable
Right.
not getting along. So that's my 5 minutes of frustration.
Yeah, my advice to that is don't call them folk. But anyway, I'm not gonna give my opinion about that because it's gonna turn into a Micaiah Bryant show if I do. So we're gonna keep it moving, and we're gonna go ahead and talk about this hot, sought after topic. Can you rebuild trust after all the lies? So I am going to end my live, guys. So if you guys can click on the link either in the subject or it's in the comments of this live, please go ahead and join me on DISCO100 Radio. So, guys, can we go around the room and ask the
What is a
question
lie?
first? Can you
First.
rebuild trust?
Let's talk about the lie.
Let's see if who thinks you could rebuild it first.
It depends.
It depends.
It depends.
What you say, guy? Yes.
I believe so.
What you think, Stinner?
Of course.
Kim?
It can be rebuilt.
Stuttering over there.
It can't, because it's more so. It can be rebuilt. It takes a lot. It takes two.
I got a soft no.
I'm gonna say yes, but I'm gonna say it takes 3.
It takes 3. Okay.
It takes 3.
I'm
Well, that makes
gonna go with a soft no, and the reason why it's a soft no is because of the work that it takes. I don't think that 99% of the people really understand the work and is willing to put in the work. So I'm gonna say that. So with that being said, let's define trust. So I found this really, really interesting meaning, and I thought it was pretty good. I liked it. It defined trust, or this psychologist defined trust. Her definition of it is it is a feeling of commitment and faith, kind of like a big warm hug. Trust feels safe, comfortable, and secure. You feel like you can consistently rely and depend on your partner in times of need. No matter what is up in the air, you have a safe foundation and somewhere to land.
I like that.
I thought that was an awesome definition
I
of
like that.
trust.
I like that.
So if anybody
That
else
was
wants
nice.
to, yeah, it was real creative. Real creative definition.
Yeah.
So anybody else got a definition of trust they want to put out there? This phone just don't act right.
Kim?
Just in this case.
Go
You
ahead.
usually give us a definition.
I mean, I got
We
the
need a-
definition for lie. You already know.
We're going into
Anybody else want to define trust?
I think that was
That was good.
Yeah,
That was good.
That definitely was.
Okay, I want to add a
All
conversation.
right.
I want to add since we throwing out definitions, and my sister, gave out a contingency. She said because she doesn't believe 99% of the people are willing to do the work. I want to put in another contingency where people who have been affected by trauma, which may make rebuilding trust, a person may come in with their trust fragile. Okay, trauma, emotionally shocked, following a stressful event or a physical injury, which may be associated with physical shock. And sometimes, now here is where I want you guys to pay attention.
Come
This is
on.
where it's going to come back to get you. Which sometimes leads to long-term neurosis. So if it's long-term, that means when I meet you,
It's already there.
okay, that's so long as you know, because
Yeah, it's already there.
I'm going
That's-
to work off of that when it's my turn.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So
emphasize it.
Oh, yeah, we bringing the word today.
all right.
That was powerful.
All right. Let's get to
right.
the lie. Why do people lie in a relationship?
Reasons trust is broken.
Why
Let's go,
trust
Stinner.
is broken. It's because of the lies in relationship. It says that people lie in relationships to save face. to avoid conflict, to protect their egos, protect their image, and just not to hurt their partner's feelings.
That's all it says.
That's what it
Because
is.
some people lie for their own benefit.
Yes,
I don't know
that's
why
to
that
protect
ain't.
their
Yeah,
ego.
but I would like to. I
That's
vote
to protect their
shit.
ego.
When we add to that,
We gotta add,
But I like
for their
that.
own
Listen.
benefit.
So we want to go around the room and let everybody add.
Okay, go ahead and add to it.
Go ahead, my
But-
sister.
I'm just adding for their own benefit. that's
Okay,
all.
so
they
the-
lie for
okay.
their own benefit.
So the lie is to
But-
protect that ego. That's the part of the ego. But the thing is that a lot of us will.
We're gonna add.
Okay, who at this table hasn't told a lie to their partner?
Hold on, I want to say people
Ever
also
in their relationship.
People also lie to manipulate.
I've never told a lie.
Yeah, I've never
Manipulation.
either.
I've never
That's
told
ego.
a lie. Not in this current relationship.
No,
Not
me
in this
either.
one.
I have no reason.
And
Thank you.
No.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
and-
Well, yeah. We're talking about
And-
the long way.
hold on, in my last one, I didn't cheat either.
Hold on, I missed the question.
The last
What's
one
the
I was
question?
in.
What were we talking
Who haven't? Who hasn't told a lie?
Hasn't told a lie in a relationship.
In a relationship. Not me.
I haven't told a lie.
Not the current
Ever
one.
in your relationship.
I ain't got no reason to tell no lie.
In your relationship.
I told a lie.
Listen, I
I've
just think
told-
I think people
Wow.
lie for
Okay,
no
so-
reason
So
sometimes.
everybody, that's
Everybody
here
has
at this
told
table
lies in a
has
relationship.
told a lie. But the thing is everybody at this table is human beings.
Oh yeah,
So it's
absolutely.
something that happens, and that goes back to the childhood development when we were kids. If we did something wrong and we got in trouble, the first thing that we do is we say what? What's the first thing we're gonna say?
I ain't doing.
I didn't do
I
it
ain't do it, right? Why did we say that?
You
because
didn't want to get in trouble.
You wanna get in
when we
trouble.
said that because our mama told us not to tell a bill collector that she not there when she was
You didn't want to
that is
endure the
a-
consequences.
I'm just saying.
consequences.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
So lie is definitely one reason
Okay.
why trust is broken.
Yes, definitely.
Of course, infidelity.
Yes.
Fidelity.
One thing that I thought was very interesting is trust can be broken when there's any kind of exception in the relationship, any expectation in the relationship is not met,
That's true.
right?
It can't be.
And then I think one is also when we put a person in a position, kind of like what Mr. H was talking about, the trauma, to relive a trauma that they have expressed to you for you to guard, you know. So if I've already told you that, you know, I had a previous situation or a childhood trauma, and this, you know, kind of caused this reaction for me, then I'm gonna need you to not poke the bear, you know, pretty much. So those are kind of the reasons that I found
Yeah.
that
Okay.
causes trust and everything
So
that
how do-
comes along with those things.
How do we
you know?
rebuild from that point?
So let's talk about the signs
Of
of your
rebuilding?
relationship lacking trust.
Ah.
Like, how do you know if your relationship lacks trust?
When when you really don't believe anything that they say out of their mouth.
That's one. You're anxious to cling to your partner and never want them to be out of your sight.
That's another
Some
one.
people think that that's just cute and we just, you know, and sometimes it is, but sometimes that's got some telltale signs.
Definitely does.
You know, it's not always that they just want to be up under you. Sometimes it's just they don't trust your ass to be out their sight. You know?
But normally that happens with infidelity.
Another,
Time, what do they
well,
call
you
it?
got some people
Time?
that's like that at the beginning because they could be coming in like what he's talking about with a trauma,
With
already,
trauma already.
which I would advise if your trauma that bad that you probably don't need to be in a
Yeah.
relationship.
Right, I
you know,
agree
I
with
would
that
say
too.
I
that.
agree.
Hold up, hold up, hold
I
up,
agree
hold
with
up,
that
hold up,
too.
hold
Well,
up.
I'm gonna just keep going. We gonna let you talk about your trauma. Let me just
Okay.
get through these signs of.
Oh,
Huh?
okay. No, it's just that, or sometimes,
Say,
sometimes.
move this.
Okay, well, y'all move that. Just sometimes, like on a professional level, when I hear things that are inaccurate, because a lot of times people who have trauma, after a while, because they suppress it, they are not aware. So when we say, well, if you don't have trauma, then do or don't do this. That's if you are aware. If you are not aware, then that is not applicable.
Okay, that's fine. But if you know that you jacked up, just go on and sit over in the corner
No doubt,
and
no
leave them
doubt.
folk alone till
No
you get
doubt.
it together.
No
All
doubt,
right.
no doubt.
So let's move on to another sign that you lack trust in your relationship would be you won't allow yourself to be vulnerable or to get close to someone out of fear of being hurt. Another one is you feel a really big weight of uncertainty and insecurity. And then fourthly, we have you question the person's actions, kind of like what Anitra was talking about, and feel like they're always hiding something. Like you may even be compelled to snoop through the phone and the texts and the DMs and the inboxes and emails and the mail and everything all under the seat looking for panties and everything. Ain't nothing there but you looking. So that might be some signs that y'all don't got no trust.
What do you think about Sean? Because I was watching a TV show the other day, and the guy actually, it's a dating show, and the guy was actually,
I'm sorry, yes.
the guy was actually saying, when he gets into a relationship, he wants all passcodes. He wants to be able to have for them to exchange passcodes, And then one of the ladies was like, "That's just too much." Like, what I thought it was distrust. I mean, but. Another gentleman said that.
To come in already saying, "What's your name? I like you. What's your passcode?" It would definitely be a red flag for me.
Right.
But I don't have a problem with my dude having access to my phone and email or whatever because it's nothing there.
Right.
So I don't have a problem. But if it's like a contingency thing, like we can't be together unless I got your passwords, it's like,
well,
let me have a choice.
It's funny that you guys said that because I was riding to work and I was listening to Steve Harvey morning show, and you know how they read the Strawberry letters, and one lady called about that because her and her guy, I guess they had some issues in the past, some infidelity, but they were getting back together, and she basically was asking for access to him. And one of the things that Steve said, which I agreed with him, was if he's not willing to give you access, then maybe you might need to keep going down the road.
Right, and that's what that we gonna get to that,
Yes.
and I agree with that only because he broke the trust.
Yeah,
but if you come
broke
into
the
the relationship
Yeah.
saying I need your passwords and your email, I need to have access to all your stuff, baby, you got some issues.
But I think you shouldn't have to ask for that
It's
coming
just
into
like-
a relationship
No.
because if that guy has good intentions for you guys, when you guys get together, then you know how sometimes when you're with your partner, you be like, babe, let me use your phone or something, and then now you got a code there.
If they got a double back,
If he like hold
they
up,
kinda-
he like hold up, then that's a red flag.
flag.
That's it.
Let me tell you another red flag. If you ask for the phone because you trying to go and research something, and they hit the Google for you, like you ain't. Let me get. They gonna think they gonna take you to Google.
Because I think if they have good intentions and they don't have anything to hide, and I get your
It
phone,
just comes
they
natural,
say, hey
right?
babe, the code is 1222.
Yeah.
And then you have it automatically.
Right.
You didn't ask for
Right,
it.
right.
Right.
You just say, hey babe, let me use your phone real quick because maybe my phone's dead
Right.
or I can't reach my phone.
Right.
And he said, okay, baby.
Yeah, if they want to direct you to
Text.
whatever you're
Right.
looking for, then they got
They got something to hide.
All right.
So that's one sign of somebody just ain't ain't got good intentions and
Yeah,
they haven't cut loose.
You got any comments you want to read?
Somebody said,
code.
JoJo said no.
Let me.
I guess the first question
So-
is JoJo said no.
Oh, whatever the
Jojo.
question was. Oh, he don't
Yeah.
think that trust can be rebuilt. That's what that is.
Well, it can't. Well, you
I
have
don't
to
know why I
work on
can't see
it.
the comments today.
I can see it, but let me get my
Yeah,
glasses.
it's on the line.
Okay, while Anitra gets her glasses so that we can see the comments, she can read the comments to us. I was thinking, and I had a really cool, kind of like an analogy, I guess, for rebuilding trust. And there was a correlation in rebuilding credit. So, the first thing, if you want to rebuild trust, is just like rebuilding credit. You have to acknowledge that it's bad. Okay, you got bad, jacked up credit. All right. And then after that, you have to stop the bad behavior. You can't rebuild your credit if you're going to pay your bills late every month. So you can't
Definitely
rebuild
true.
trust if you're going to keep lying and cheating. If you ain't going to stop the behavior, you cannot rebuild trust.
I'm gonna sip
The
on that.
behavior has to change instantaneously.
Yes.
You can't rebuild your credit saying I'm a pay the bill not this month on time. I'm gonna do it
Right.
next month on time. Okay, well the rebuild process hasn't started. until you make the first on-time payment.
Yeah.
So until you stop lying and stop cheating, the rebuild of trust has not started.
For me, if I can kind of go into my thoughts on rebuilding, if I, I don't know, are we to that part yet? Can I go in?
Well, I'm just giving my little credit repair analogy.
Okay.
And so the next thing after stopping the bad behavior would be consistency.
Yep.
You have to consistently do this thing over a
Yeah.
course of time before you could see the actual
Absolutely.
benefits to the rebuild process. And then finally, it's time. We got to give it some time. We can't rush people through their healing. We can't rush people because I didn't put a time frame on how long you was going to cheat and lie. So you can't put a time frame on how long I'm going to
Oh
heal.
my God. And let me tell you, it's funny you said that because I was in a relationship where the guy had he had did something, whether it was infidelity or whatever the case is. And then now, like you said, the time frame, he's like, well, you should be over it by now. How you going to tell me how long it takes me to get over something that was done that harmed me?
Yeah.
And that's the
can't be
problem.
like
Like,
that.
Right.
even with females, I'm not even going to put it just on males. It's females too. Females can do things to a guy, and then now they want to rush you on your healing process. You can't rush people on healing, especially when you've done damage to them.
Absolutely.
Right.
You can't. And they try. Men do it and women do it too. Well, you should be over it by now. You ain't over that by now. No. Or man, you're not over that by no.
Right.
You're right.
It's an actual trauma when you, and it doesn't have to be. We always look at breaking trust. We always associate that with cheating. It's always cheating.
Yeah, and it's
but
a
it
lot of
doesn't
other
have to
things. It doesn't have to be cheating.
cheating,
Yeah.
of course, that we've already defined. But we don't. I don't think people understand that even in the instances where it's not cheating, I think that they think the effect of the trauma is less impactful.
And I'm glad you said that.
And that's not true
That's
either.
not true. That's definitely not true.
Yeah, so we have to kind of be clear on some things.
Yeah.
Because
Definitely.
you don't have to cheat to damage a person
Exactly.
to their
That's
core.
so true.
Let me speak to the brothers real quick, because let's be honest. Let's not buck dance on this. When we think of cheating, the first instinct is we think of the man. Can we be honest about that?
Yeah,
Can
we
be honest?
think of it.
Can we not buck
But I'm
dance?
open-minded.
No.
Most of the time, okay,
I'm
fine, we got one.
open-minded.
We got one out of everybody.
I'm
else.
open-minded.
Most people, if you say, hey, we're going to have a conversation about cheating, especially if it's people of color, the first image that's going to come to a person's mind is a black man. I.e., if Tyler Perry was going to make a movie about cheating, the villain is going to be a black man, more likely than not. So I just want to say this, brothers, because I've been there. I've been on the perpetrating end of infidelity, cheating. You can't rush women through their healing process. If you participated in breaking her, then you have to be patient enough and participate in giving her whatever she communicates to you that she needs to help her get back together.
Right.
And you can't fault her for responding to the damage that you caused.
Right.
Don't get mad at her because
Right.
the reason why you're experiencing this is because of a decision that you made.
Bingo.
So you have to own that. And if you're going to be man enough to make that decision, then you have to be man enough to take the consequences that come along with
I
it.
agree.
Definitely.
So
So
just leave it alone.
Right. So are we?
So yes, so we are how to rebuild trust in a relationship. That's where we at. We about to get
So
down
we
to the
agree that it
nitty-gritty.
can be
to it.
rebuilt.
It
No,
can be
we're
rebuilt.
saying we're going to get everybody thoughts
Yeah.
on how they feel if not, if they feel that they
I
cannot.
think everybody feels that it can, and I do. That's why I said it was a soft no, because
It just depends
this
for
work
me.
that is necessary is
That's why I said
Well,
depends,
let me
because
tell you-
it just
go ahead.
Yeah.
depends.
Let me tell you why the conversation gets so difficult.
Yeah.
Is because in our mind, we know that there are some cheating episodes that don't need to be repaired.
Right.
Because the
Right.
brother or the sister,
Right.
they have no intentions
Right.
on changing.
Right.
So when
Right.
we combine those two conversations,
Yes.
then you get the unstableness
Yes.
because well, some kind of is, some
Yeah,
kind of won't,
that's
some
why I
kind of
said
is.
depends.
Then we get the double mindedness. But for me, at least when it's my turn, I'm going to differentiate between those relationships that they should have had no business being together in the first place.
Right.
That's an easy conversation to have. For me, with my observation, the conversation that's always difficult for us to have, and even as we answered a simple question, can it or can it not be, you get all this if, kind of, maybe, sort of, because we're predicated to be predisposed to think failure first. And that's why we get
I
to
like that.
99%
I like
no, because they ain't going to do the work. And that's why I started my 5 minutes of frustration, because we are fixated and damn near addicted to failed relationships and discord. We just proved that right here by the way we answered
Yeah.
because if
I
we
disagree.
hold on,
Me too.
Well, hold
I
on,
agree.
I'm sure. But if we
I
were thinking success,
Yeah.
the answers would
Yeah.
have revealed that.
Right.
Our answers to that question did not reveal
It didn't.
us believing that relationships in
Right.
our community could be restored and rehabilitated.
But they
not
can't.
the way we answered that question.
Right.
Well,
No.
But go ahead. I'm
six-
gonna
I
wait
mean,
till my turn comes.
it was very
out of
simple
six.
for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was we said
We
I
all
said
said
a
yes.
soft no, which was I said
said-
it's a
I
yes.
said maybe it depends.
Only because I don't think, and this is not saying that people can't.
Thank you.
Okay, what I'm saying is, again, I don't think that everybody really understands what's necessary to even put in. So really what I'm saying more so, it's not about our ability, it's about us having a lack of information to even go through the process. So that's what I'm saying, and that's the reason why we're having this conversation. We lack the information on what it may be necessary to make this thing happen, which is a lot of things in our community. The reason why we don't have more successful businesses is because we lack the
That's true.
information, on different business strategies,
response to
marketing
that.
strategies, different things
Right,
like that. So we
right.
lack information in
That's
our
true.
community.
I
We
agree.
don't.
But that doesn't
Can I
necessarily
add that?
mean that it cannot
And
happen.
I'm not saying that it
Can I-
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Can I add that?
Because what I'm saying is because that's just like if you said, can black people start a business? And if
Absolutely.
someone say that I'm gonna have to say it's a soft no, it's like, but overall it's a yes. But,
I
however,
would never
If they
say,
have the proper information.
That's what you're
I
probably
would
trying
never,
to
That's
say.
what
I would never
exactly
say
what I'm
no to
saying.
that question. Can
Okay.
black
Let me
people
say
start?
this.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can do
okay.
anything
Hold on,
you
let
want.
me say this. I want to be clear. Before we could talk about lacking the information, for me, you lack commitment. Because a person who is
That's the
committed,
thing.
Committed
to
will-
success. Hold on, let me
That-
finish.
Do
You
what
can
it
disagree.
takes.
Let me
It's
finish.
true.
Let's have this conversation a nice way.
Well, I don't want to disagree on anything really.
No, but I'm just saying, I've seen people start with nothing, no information,
Yeah.
no resources.
Yeah.
Their commitment to the goal allowed them to do what was necessary to acquire what they need to make that goal.
It's funny that you said that. That's funny you said that. I say that all the time.
But listen, this is one of those conversations that I feel is very important. So I really want us to have this conversation a certain way because again, when we look at the statistics, whether you believe them or not, even though you can go out and look at everybody's household and see it, our families bear witness that we're more accustomed to failure in relationships than success. You can't argue that. So what I'm saying is when a person is committed, they will do what's necessary in order to do what needs to be done.
I agree.
Now, okay, and I 100%, 1,000% agree with that. So the next time I tell you that when we having a conversation about you telling me people can't this and that, and I tell you if a person have the will and the way and get it done,
That's
then
my motto.
just remember we're gonna do a playback on this.
Okay.
Go ahead, guy.
So
Run it on back.
this is my theory. My theory is anything that can be torn down with the exception of death can be rebuilt. Now, the question is kind of like an open-ended question because it's asking an opinion and we're looking back in our past and trying to decide can it
Right.
be built. Anything could have been rebuilt if you made the conscious decision to do it. That's a
Commitment.
choice.
Right.
So we wasn't predisposed to nothing. And if you do me a favor, when you give that statistic, can you cite it so we can kind of read up on it? Because we throw out statistics and I just don't be seeing the correlation to
No
it.
problem.
So yeah, in regards to
And it's definitely
rebuilding
for
trust,
me. It's not not a pre. I'm not pre-exposed to it because I've only predisposed to it. I've only attempted to stay with a cheater per se once.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like that's a because it happens and I'm gone.
Yeah.
So I don't do the whole.
But I
you
mean,
know,
let's just like you guys said something that made sense. That's why I was listening.
What are you
When
looking
you
like that
when
for?
you said
Because
there's other things outside of infidelity that causes distrust, which is
Correct.
true when you sit down and
Correct.
think about it.
Correct.
So regardless of what caused the distrust,
Yeah.
if two people want to make it work, they can
They'll make
do
it
it,
work.
Absolutely.
regardless of the challenges.
Right.
That's my position.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
And I kind of agree with Guy because you have to.
Oh.
you want to read this?
Do we have the statistics?
yeah. Put it in the
what
chat.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know how to, my
no, say it in reference to what you
It
said.
says the economic racism and sexism that black women face are reflected in the rate of marriage for black women. More than 70% of black women are unmarried, according to the 2010 census. You want to read that? yourself?
No, I heard you when you read it, but
I
how
don't
is
know the correlation.
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Because
Like,
I
how
mean,
does
it's
that
only
make
talking
sense
about
to what you
black
said?
women, first of all, and yeah, it's
Okay, I'll wait my turn and I'll put it together.
okay.
Okay.
So let's keep it moving.
Okay, for me, here's my take on it, guys. Because I've been in relationships where trust was broken, and like you said, Mr. H, some relationships you just need to just cut your ties, cut your losses, and just go your way. Some of them do. Sometimes we hold on to things that honestly we should have let go.
So is that saying that trust can't be?
It's kind of
That's kind of a contradictory.
Okay,
because
but I'm gonna-
what broke what? So are you saying that the trust was broken in a relationship that you had no business being in the beginning?
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what
Well,
I'm
then
saying.
that's a contradictory.
That's what I'm saying.
No. But what I'm saying is that all of the damage.
Well, then that says trust can't be repaired.
Well, that's why I said it depends. That's for me. Remember when we asked the question, I said it depends because some could, depending on what kind of damage was done in that relationship.
so that's a disclaimer.
Yeah. So on my take, for me, and again, everybody's different. For me, it just depends on what kind of damage because some damages are not repairable.
So
Okay.
that kind of play like what I'm saying is it's an open-ended question
Yeah.
because that's a choice in that instance that you felt like
Right.
too much was done.
Right.
Don't mean it can't be. You're
Right.
just choosing not to
Right.
because of what you felt.
Because
Right.
it's
That's
gonna
a
be too much.
different-
It's gonna be
that's a
too much
different
work.
scenario.
And then I ask myself, am I gonna put in this work? Am I gonna be open minded?
That's what I'm saying.
But
right
let me
there.
ask you,
That's what I'm
Anitra, do you think that those are like relationships that you should not have been in?
Think about it.
Let me think about it. you know what? I could probably say yes. I
Okay.
could probably say that
Okay.
I probably should have never went down that road in the first place, but I
Okay. Now that
did.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
we do.
I did, and then now the damage has occurred.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you know what? This
So it's
ain't
nothing
worth
worth savaging.
Yeah, it's nothing worth
Right.
savaging. It's like, you
Yeah.
know what? Forget this.
Yeah.
And those are and we all been in those
Yes.
relationships.
Yeah.
And we just got on down the
Yes.
road maybe a look later
Then we should have. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
I
definitely agree that some relationships should have never been a
Yeah.
relationship.
Right.
I agree.
Right.
Yeah.
And to define that, because of course that's another open ended, like Guy said, like, okay, well, how do you define which one you should and which one you shouldn't? And if for me, it's just like if a person. If you guys are just having a true lack of compatibility on your value system, like that is one of the biggest things is having different value systems and how you believe things should happen and how people should conduct themselves and how children should be raised and how money should be spent, different things like that. If your value system is so far apart from each other, then that's probably, a recipe for a disaster. If somebody want to be monogamous and the other person want to be a polygamous, y'all probably don't got the same value system on relationships, and you're gonna have a problem.
I have a comment. This is a good comment from Tiffany. She said, we have to know what's worth fighting for.
Right.
Everybody don't get second chances.
Absolutely.
And that kind of goes back to what I was
You got
just
any more
saying.
comments you want to read?
And Patricia said rebuilding trust is possible, but it's a lot of work on both ends.
Yes, we about to dig into it right now. We about to dig into it right now.
Both ends.
Go
And
ahead.
Charles, one more. Charles said, yes, trust can be rebuilt, but you both have to be willing to put in the work. You have to be able to earn trust back it is just not giving back. And we all agree with that. I think we all agree with that trust is not giving back. You have to work. And we kind of talked about this today, where, initially the person is saying, yes, I want to work on it, but their actions are not showing that they want to work on it. They still have the same behavior that they had when they were doing whatever damage they was doing in the first place.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's kind of back to my credit analogy.
Right.
You want to start rebuilding your credit, you got to start paying your bill on time,
Right.
which means you got to stop paying it late.
Right.
You can't want to rebuild trust and you still cheating.
Right.
You still lying. You still
Right.
doing whatever
That's
offense
so
it
right.
is that caused the and this is another thing. We have to understand that you can't modify your behavior.
That's true.
Modifications don't work because you have people that's intelligent enough to be able to see between, your BS. And, it's like maybe they don't call you out, maybe they will, but when they don't call you out, or if they call you out, you're still tearing the walls of trust down even more, because now, and then you causing me to really like look at you another way, because it's like, okay, you putting a lot of effort into keeping this behavior going,
See,
and so it's just
there's
it's just too
something-
much.
there's
Don't break
something-
trust.
There's something that we're missing here.
Oh, we
that
got a whole
word.
list of stuff to
It's
go
that
through.
word empathy. That word empathy for my partner. Do I want to continue to hurt this person or put them through this whole struggle? Or do I want that person to be at peace, be happy, be resourceful in a relationship? So if we're lacking empathy, we can't even get to any of these other points.
That's a good one, because I don't think a lot of people think about that.
We-
I don't think they really sit there and ask themselves, do I really want to continuously put my partner through this pain? Because my thing is, if you're connected to that person, you should hurt as well. And it's like
It don't work like that.
sometimes they're not hurting.
order to
In all the
rebuild-
research that I did with rebuilding trust,
There's
not
some type
one of the
disconnect.
sources mentioned anything about feelings and emotions.
That's crazy.
Well, you
To
have
that
to have
extent.
some kind of.
That's crazy.
It- I mean,
in
it-
order to
it-
start,
People
you
can
got
feel
to care.
bad because if they're operating in a certain behavior, they can operate and feel bad and still do it.
But that's just like your mom. You're not going to sit and continuously hurt your. If you genuinely care about your mom, you have a relationship,
That's
a
not
healthy
true.
relationship with your mom.
That's not
I'm
true.
not going to sit and stab my mom over and over and over, looking at her
You
and
can
watching
have a
her
healthy
cry.
relationship with your
Like,
mom, but not have a healthy relationship within yourself.
I've seen people who were addicted to drugs and it
Well,
hurt.
that's a different thing. If
Wait,
you're
no,
like,
wait, you gave the
if you have a
scenario.
problem,
You gave the
that's
scenario.
different. But that's different. I'm not talking about that.
You
So I just
said-
want to clear that up. If you're in your right state of mind, you're a completely healthy individual. If you are somebody that's okay, that's normal. I'm not saying that you're on drugs or whatever the case may be. I get that. We're talking about sane people. That's what I'm talking about. You are an individual who love your mom. You're not going to sit, or your dad, whoever, like you're not going to sit and continuously do things to hurt them over and over and see them cry. Eventually, it's going to register in your mind for you to be like, I'm not going to sit here and continuously hurt my mom or dad over and over, looking at them cry,
Not
the
if
pain that they're
you could
going
be
through.
operating in a behavior that you like. We talked about it several times. I mean,
That means
I hate
something
to-
ain't right up there. But I'm still
they
once
don't
again
know
talking about
that.
the people.
But they don't know that something's not right.
He's trying to say something.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Disco.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, my bad. No, but I was gonna say, well, it's basic with me. It can be worked out, but it's how much you're willing to give up to prove it.
Right.
And basically, if it's you going out on the phone, overtime work, or wasting money, how much you willing to prove and give up yourself
Yeah.
to get that trust back.
Yeah.
That's
So
what
I have 9 bullet points that I'm going to run through, and then we kind of tackle them. So the first thing is to understand that you cannot do it alone, which you guys have already mentioned. It's going to take. That's Anitra.
To the
right?
tango, baby.
It's going to take both parties to make this happen, okay? And that means that the person who violated the trust is willing to demonstrate that they will engage in the relationship and repair the brokenness. The person whose trust was violated is also willing to forgive and make themselves vulnerable once more as the connection is renewed. So the first step to reconstructing trust is to simply check in and make sure both parties are on board and willing to put the work
agree.
in.
To what is that word? That F word that you just said.
Well, let me
Forgive.
After
Yeah.
you finish.
There has to be
say
some
something.
form of forgiveness.
I want to answer his question before it gets too far.
Well, that's on that's on the person who
You
whose
can't
trust
hold
was
grudges.
violated.
You can't hold grudges against that person.
Well, yeah, we got that. Number 2 is to openly apologize. So the person who committed the act, you have to openly apologize. You can't be defensive. I cannot stress that
I agree.
like with my whole life. You can't be defensive. You can't rush their process. Being defensive and rushing them through the process only aggravates the situation.
Yes, it does.
So you're going to push them up into a corner to where they are going to give up. You're not going to have to give up. They
Right.
going to give
They
up.
gonna be like, they
That's
can't
kind of
do
how
it.
my situation. Like if you're not going to embrace me through this process of what you put me through,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, we need to go ahead and go on about our business.
Sean,
The-
I'm so
the-
sorry. To add on to what you said, like with the apology, a lot of people, what I wanted to say was, I just want to throw this in there real quick. I think a lot of people, what you need to do is like, what's really important sometimes is like venting,
Yeah.
getting it all out. You know what I mean?
that's-
Because some
that's-
people don't get it all out. They don't do that venting process.
That's number 3 is
Definitely.
reflect on the experience. And this is what most of the time the person who violated the trust, they don't like this part.
Yeah.
This is the part where they
Why you bringing
kind of
it up?
check out. I don't
Mhm.
want to talk about this.
Keep
We
bringing
can't
it
keep
up.
talking about it. We keep talking about it. Why we got to keep talking about it?
How long you-
But how long did you cheat?
It's not a time.
How long did you lie?
Right.
That's
It's not
the
a
thing.
time frame.
That's the thing,
It's
it's no
not a
time
time
We
frame.
gonna talk about it. You said, "Oh, I'm done."
It's not a no. It's over with as far as your incident.
Right.
Now, the rebuilding of the trust
Yeah.
is something totally different
Right.
from my process of healing.
Right.
And you can't tell a person how to heal.
And you know what?
That's why it failed.
And you know what? And I'm glad because most men are like that.
Yes.
They don't want you to talk about it. They want you to forget about
Yeah.
it. They just say,
Right.
forget about it. How? How can I
Hold on,
forget about it?
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is we sit and talk about it. You say, "Sweetheart, I love you. I'm gonna move on." I'm not okay. That's fine. You said that, but we ain't gotta keep talking about.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
And, oh, you done said
Yes.
you agree.
We gotta get it drilled
I'm
in.
not saying don't forget about it, but I don't want to eat. We don't want to.
Well, see, that's the problem.
But see, that's rushing somebody through their process.
Exactly.
You know what? Let me say this, brother, respectfully. We don't want to hear about it,
Yeah, but you did it.
but they didn't want to feel the pain we put them through either.
Yes, but they had no choice.
So it's kind of like, again, my advice
It's
to the brothers:
That's true.
if you don't want to hear about it,
Don't do it.
don't do it.
Don't
Yeah,
do
so
it.
it's
Simple.
right. So in part
We
of
both
that
happy.
reflection is gauge where you are, emotionally.
Right.
Both parties.
That's right.
Right.
You have to gauge where you are emotionally. And sometimes when people get to that number 3, that reflect on, the person typically who
check out.
violated, they typically check out right there because they don't want to keep going through this.
Yeah.
So that might be a
Yep.
place where y'all come to an agreement that is we need to part ways and we can't get to number 4, which
Because then we feel like we don't, this as much as you guys don't want to hear
Here,
it from
we
us,
want to go through
we
it.
don't want
really
to
wanna
keep
talk about it either.
reliving
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
See, y'all
Something.
keep saying it's one-sided. It's not just one-sided. It's two-sided.
Well,
Listen,
nothing.
listen, men. Like, I keep telling y'all, time and time again, men have feelings too, and we go through these things too. But this is what I'm saying to you. This is what I'm saying to you. Trust is something that's fragile. Now we're in that rebuilding portion.
I tell you, the men
First
show got a
thing
Me Too
first
movement
is
going
that
on.
this, right? You have to forgive y'all keep bouncing things back to somebody else. You have to forgive yourself first.
if you let me get through my bullet points, then I'm gonna tell you
Well,
that.
okay, you want to, if you want to say something. No. If you want to say it, I want to
Forget yourself first.
Because I want to
I
go
wanted
back to
to
that
hear
question
from
he
her.
asked me. I want to go back to that.
Yeah, but I wanted to hear.
So
So,
go ahead
so
and get to the
after,
bullet
so
points.
after we gauge where we are emotionally, then we should extract a lesson. What the hell did you learn? Like what you said, that this hurt my partner, and I don't want them to feel like that. Did you learn this? Did you learn something about yourself on why you broke this trust? You know, what did you learn? Reflect on the actions that caused the trust, to be broken in the first place. Like, are you dealing with some unresolved issues? Whatever, reflect for yourself. You know what I'm saying? On both ends, The next thing is how did it make you feel through that reflection? You know what I'm saying? How did it make you feel? And then how are you feeling about it now at this point? And so the fourth thing is to create new memories. Let's go out, let's do some new things.
But it's hard when you still have those old memories.
But that's the part of the process.
Let me say something.
What number are you?
I'm on 5.
What happens-
Remember that people can be trusted. Like, think about the healthy relationships that you have in your life, the people that you do trust, and just kind of saturate your thinking into saying that I can trust somebody, because a lot of times when your trust is violated like this, you shut down. You like, I can't trust nobody,
Right.
But there is somebody in your life you can trust. So you want to reflect on, even if it's just one relationship. You got that one old cousin that live up there in Arkansas that you can trust. Just reflect on that one old relationship.
For me, with the trusting thing, if I can just say this, for me, it was like one relationship, I didn't trust the person at all. And moving forward, for me to trust again, you had to come in, what's the word I'm looking for? Being very transparent. Like you had to come in being transparent.
That's number
Just
6.
had that discussion.
Yeah, but I'm
Yes.
just telling you. I'm
just
saying,
had that
like, say
discussion.
if I didn't trust my last partner.
Oh, you
She missed it.
yeah.
What?
Yeah, she missed
There's
it.
a
man.
difference.
Okay.
There's a big
Yes.
difference.
Okay.
So number 6, I got
Okay.
3 more. Number 6 is
Wait.
ask for what
Then I get
you
to the 9.
need. Be open. Be very honest and transparent
You heard
with
that?
yourself
You heard that?
I heard it.
about what
Honest
you
and
need.
transparent with yourself.
About what you need from them to regain the trust. So that would be like the example where the guys, the lady was like, "I need your passwords,"
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
She's being honest, open, and transparent about what she needs to move forward. I need to have open access to all your stuff. That's
you gotta be
what
willing
I
to get it.
need. I
gotta
need
get it.
for if you gonna run late, I need a phone call.
Right.
If this gonna happen, I need this.
And that's fair.
But you can't have this conversation until you have a conversation with yourself to say, what is it that I really need?
And that's what you were
because
saying.
sometimes we just
That's
put
exactly what
it
you were
put it out there. Well, you telling the person what their behavior that they have that's not helping, but you're not telling them
What
what they
you-
need to do that will help.
That's true.
Because you haven't thought about it
That's
yourself.
true.
So we have to get with ourselves and ask ourselves what we need.
I'm glad you said that. I like that, Sean.
What would help you feel supported and safe? You know what I'm saying? What would make you feel supported and safe? And then once you are totally clear about what you need, what's going to make you feel supported, what's going to make you feel safe, then you communicate it to your partner.
Okay.
Number 7 is be willing to be vulnerable again. Let the walls down. The ego got to be set aside, and you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable. And I think that may be for both parties to be honest, if I'm being honest. And then we have to reignite the connection. Right. And so
that's sometimes hard.
Yeah.
Because when you're thinking about everything that's been done to you, it's kind of hard
Right.
to spark the fires in the bedroom.
Yep.
And
That's what
that's
you're
where the
saying.
problem is.
That's exactly
well, what it's
I would
really
say
saying
that.
is in reigniting your connection is to change your perspective and not look at the incident, whatever it was. I don't want to keep harping on cheating, but whatever the incident was that broke the trust, instead of looking at that as a downward spiral to your relationship, look at it as a new beginning.
I don't know about
So
that.
it's about it's about the work.
But
that you
Sean,
really
let
put
me
in.
ask you. Let me ask you, Sean.
Listen,
Let me
wait,
just,
hold on.
what? That was
Hold on. No, hold on. That was reignite the connection. And then we have to, this is number 9. Focus on the future and create a vision for what you want your relationship to look like going forward.
Okay.
And so that's going to take both parties.
Okay, let me ask, because I don't want to get too far away from why he asked me for a statistic, right?
Yes.
Because my premise was because if we're gonna educate people on how to rebuild, then we say they need information. So he asked me, what does the 70% have to do with being predisposed to us thinking negatively or not, or having, being addicted to discord? If they say 70% of black women are unmarried, that's a sign of habitual failed relationships.
No.
Because hold on, let me finish.
Well, I don't want to get into.
Hold on. I'm just give me 2 minutes. I've been sitting here. I didn't. Just let me say my quick point. What I'm saying is, if these women are getting into relationships with the goal being married, right? If that's their goal, and 70% of them don't end up married, that means those relationships fail. If you talk to a lot of women who are not married, in their mid-30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, they've gone through a lot of failed relationships. And then they get to a point where they say, well, I don't even need a man or want a man at this point, because over time, what happens is you no longer even believe that it's possible. And even when you want to talk about trust, when I say we're accustomed to that, at some point we discussed going into the Willie Lynch situation. One of their main tools that they broke between us was trust.
Correct.
So when I say that we have an issue with that, there's a historical reference. So don't tell me that that's not correct, because I know historically that for years, even for decades, that's been embedded in us.
Well, that part is correct. That part is correct.
I know.
However, if we want to start giving and if we want to give references, and if we want to speak about the 70% of women that are unmarried, then we have to go into the reasons, and it's not all because it's failed relationships. So that's why I don't want to. That's another conversation. We're not comfortable at all.
Well, okay,
we're not comfortable.
We've normalized in our language. It's in our language. We've normalized.
I still disagree. 70% of women not predisposed to failure. Like that's.
I'm saying we've normalized it.
I mean, and I definitely don't want us to say that.
Become too comfortable with that, but I don't.
Tomato, tomato.
75%.
Tomato, tomato.
Okay, well, I'm sticking to what I was saying.
It's the same psychology.
70%, I'm not gonna agree to that. So, like, wherever that like comes from, that's crazy. But what I do want to say, like during the conversation, it just kind of seemed like. Which those are some great talking points. Can you text me those when we finish? But during the conversation, it just seemed like it was more so of the man that broke the distrust. So trust is broken on both ends.
We know that.
Absolutely.
Right? But I'm just saying, because every time y'all spoke, it was just not, but just it seemed like the man spoke it. I mean, the man did all the breaking of the trust. So once we understand trust broken on both ends, it kind of go back to the open-ended question. Do you make a conscious decision to activate or implement those talking points,
right,
and then follow them to a T? Like literally sit down and have a conversation.
No deviation.
And I said this. I was having a conversation earlier today, and in the past, us older folks, we would just get into a relationship because you look good, I look good. I'm fly, you fly. Oh, we had great sex. Oh, we're in a relationship. Let's make it work. But we didn't do nothing about credit. We ain't talk about the future. We ain't talk about expectations. We ain't talk about this. So we just hope that it all fell in place. Now we're a little older, and we understand because we failed in the past and the reasons on why we failed in the past. Like we were literally in a bar this weekend, and the women was like, "Hey, what's your credit score? Hey, what kind of job you guys? A job or career? Hey," and I was like, "Man, we in the bar having a drink. I don't want to talk about that stuff." But it was just telling of how society making that turn to understand those necessary conversations that need to be had prior to relationships.
Correct.
A lot of failed relationships wouldn't be failed if we asked those type of questions back then, because we were just having babies from women and from men, and not even knowing. Not well, I can't have no more kids. But if I was in the process of having kids, believe me, it would be done differently this time. So go ahead, Mr.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it quick. Like I said, my premise, y'all can disagree. I've never been the most popular guy anywhere I went. My whole thing is we have embraced discord. So much so, right now, if you go to a gas station, a grocery store, whatever, and two black people start fighting, what's the first thing we're going to do?
Record.
Pull out our cell phones. Years ago, there would be something in us spiritually
They want to stop it.
where we would have compassion for another human being, especially one that looks like you, where our first instinct will be to try to break it up or get that sister some help. Now we have fallen so much. Remember, I said people said it takes two. I said it takes three. The third element is that spirituality. Spirituality governs your morality, and that's why the scripture says the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Those steps are decisions. They're also synonymous or metaphorically a direction that your life or your relationship is going in. When they're ordered by your submission to a higher source, the direction of your relationship can change.
Yes.
And so that produces the commitment, because submission is obedience through commitment to a set of principles given to you by a higher authority.
Correct.
And so that for me is where most, and I'm going to just say men, because I'm going to let the women speak to the women. I don't think that's, we can speak to people right now. I just want to speak to men. If you look at our behavior, a lot of that is because we have fallen spiritually. Spirituality and morality are intertwined. If you look at a man's principles, more likely than not, if he's living a righteous life, he's going to consider other people, and you can match them up with a set of spiritual principles. Point blank, period. It will cause you, I agree with you, it will cause you to consider other people. Now, let me just say this to make the conversation easier. Because when I say we've normalized it, and we started talking about is it possible, we done brought up a whole lot of reasons why it can't work. We done went to drugs. Not believing it. But then you want to tell me it's not, we haven't normalized that. But when the question is asked, our first instinct or response is to come up with 101 reasons why it can't work. I'm not talking about those relationships. I'm going to leave that up to y'all. Because where my heart is, I want to see more. I want to see us to get to where you are. Where we planning a wedding, a destination wedding. I want to see more of that. So my heart, my mind, my spirit, I'm over here. I'm gonna leave the negativity and the reasons why it won't work. I'm gonna leave it up to y'all. What I'm saying is it is possible.
What? Bro, you losing me. I don't know what you talking about.
I'm not trying to get you. I'm not trying to get you.
Okay.
I'm not for everybody.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is,
I get that too.
I'm not for everybody.
I get that too. But you still losing me.
Cool. It's not for you. What I'm saying is, it is
you losing
possible.
a lot of other people too.
That's cool. They could click off now. I don't care. Because this is for the people. This is for the people who sincerely want their relationships to work, and they just made a few bad decisions. I'm talking to those people. I'm not talking about the habitual cheater. I'm not talking about the brother who never meant you any good in the first place. I'm not talking about him.
I agree.
I'm not talking about him, because when we try to lump those two conversations together, it sounds weird.
It does.
Because you got half that's saying it can work, then you got half that's saying it can't work. I'm talking about those relationships who have the potential, that who have fallen for grace, because we've all fallen short, and for a period of time you made the wrong decision.
Let's speak to him.
Right. I'm speaking to those people now. It's this UFC fighter, right? His name is Kamaru Usman, and he just defended his title this past weekend. I'm going to wrap it up. And he's from Nigeria. Right now they have 3 Nigerian champions. At the time they had 2. They asked, because he's that good, they say, well, will you go up to the next weight class? Because you could probably win that belt too. He said, no. He said, I'm not going to fight my brother. He said, because it's more important for 2 Nigerians to have 1 title than it is for 1 Nigerian to have 2 titles. You know why? Because he's considering the impact that him and this brother has on the whole continent of Africa, with being a representation of what other Nigerians or Africans can aspire to. So and he's a righteous man. If you listen to him talk, he often references his spirituality. So what I'm saying is, if we get right spiritually, not only can we rebuild our relationships, but a lot of times we can stop them from falling in the first place. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I want to be clear that I mean, I don't know how we got to that place of because I think everybody except me said yes.
Yeah, that's where I'm lost. Everybody said yes.
Yeah, everybody said yes.
I don't know
When
what
the
you're talking
conversation
about.
was had, we came up with reasons why they couldn't work.
No.
Okay.
They were
I
talking
I
about
heard
the
that.
actual points that we were discussing. Because I'm the only one that said it's a soft.
Well, I did hear, I
he
kind of
was
hear
giving
it
us a scenario.
shift. Like it started shifting, like as the conversation went on, it did shift.
Well, I
I
did-
can't remember who it shift from. No.
I didn't shift.
I'm not saying you
I
shift.
held the line.
I'm not
Yes,
saying
they
you
can be
shift.
rebuilt.
I just heard, I don't know, stuff shift.
probably
You
No,
know,
Anisha, you didn't really shift. You simply stated, you know, if these, you know, like God said, these talking points
Right.
will not be adhered to, then it's
Right.
not going to happen.
Right.
So basically, I mean, we all have to agree with that at the end of the day,
And then
whether you
some
said
just
yes
are
or no.
not meant
If
to
you
be repaired. I
if
said
you
that
don't
too.
do
Yeah.
these things that's
Yeah.
necessary, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And that's applicable to anybody and anything in
Right.
life.
Male
If you
or
want to
female.
lose weight and you keep eating the way you've been eating and you keep working out, it's not going to happen. It don't mean that you're disposed to anything. It just means that you're living in a reality that there is a set of things that need to be done to accomplish this. If I need to paint some walls and I ain't got no damn paint, ain't no walls getting painted. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying?
That's
I'm
what I was
not
referring to.
okay, but that when we were having our conversation, our sentiment, what we were saying basically is yes, it could be done if these terms and conditions are met. The problem is that most people, not even to the point to where they won't do it, that they may not even know that it's necessary to do it. That's what we were saying. So that's not about people, you know, wanting to just being used to failure and this and that. It's not
Okay,
that.
let me
It's
clarify
just
that.
we
Okay,
do
go ahead.
not. A lot of us don't know. Case in point, Stenan and I were having a conversation earlier. When I was doing my research, I found two things. And God deals with me in words. And so two sets of words today I dealt with was improving, and changing.
Change.
It's not the same. And most people don't change. Most people improve. And so changing is to just be something different totally.
Right.
Improving is to do something better.
Right.
The same thing better.
Better.
Changing is something totally different.
I agree with that.
So, you know, but a lot of times we use a lot of words interchangeably, thinking that they mean the same, and they actually don't. Another set of words is honesty and transparency. That's not the same thing. So a lot of people will say, I'm honest, but they ain't transparent.
no, that's totally different.
Okay, but everybody don't think about them
Yeah.
being different because we use them so much as twin words. Oh, I want you to be honest and transparent, and everybody is expecting honesty, but people are not really expecting the transparency. And yes, and so
Yes,
can you understand what the difference of those two things is? Honesty is me asking you what your name
Right.
is, and you gonna say.
Kimberly.
Okay.
And transparency.
Transparency is for you to say, my name is Kimberly such and such Pace. You know what I'm saying? I didn't ask you for your whole name, but you gave me your whole name. So the difference in honesty is you're answering a question that somebody's asking you. Transparency is you volunteering the information that they don't even know exists. You see what I'm saying? And so a lot of times we're just not aware. Like for a lot of years, I didn't know that responsibility and accountability is two different things. You have a lot of people that's responsible, not a whole lot of people accountable.
That's true.
Right. And let me go ahead. And
So I'm saying that we're coming into, and I'm seeing it unfold on Facebook, like conversations that I've been having and topics, and people are finally coming around to having these conversations because of social media, because of the shift that we've been able to expose ourselves to a lot more people all over the world, which brought on a lot more information from all over the world, all over different walks of life, you know, different professions. We're able to get a lot more information, and we're able to now start defining some things that we did not previously know. So now that we're having having these conversations and we're exposed to more information, we can start to see a shift in our behaviors and our outcomes.
Right, and let me just say this: the accountability piece is very important. You have to, and let me just say this to the women because I'm gonna speak to the men. Like I said, I'm not gonna let the women speak to the women. Well, actually, no, I'm gonna just say this to the women. If you are in a situation where it is the potential to restore your relationship, you cannot make it. You cannot send the message that this man doesn't have to put in any work. Because I know even when I was in that position, if you took me back with just a simple apology, then we speaking the truth now. We're not speaking to what we wish it was. It shouldn't be that way.
True.
If you let him come back too easily, the clock is ticking.
Absolutely.
On when he will do it
Again.
And so let me just say, this is the last time I'm gonna mention this, and then I'm never gonna mention it again. When I say we're predisposed to discord, what I'm saying is we have unhealthy relationships. We do. Even on the business end, we have this thing where it's the anxiety patronizing black businesses. That's just in us, even with, unfortunately, black women will say, I usually don't get along with other black women. Like, we have these paradigms out there, and we shouldn't act like they don't exist. And even when you talk to women about black men, they'll say most black men cheat. I mean, that's out there, so
I don't
that's
think
what I mean. So I'm the only one.
Oh, you know what?
Most women only dated black men, so that's the only way they can speak from that perspective. That's what I'm saying. Like, so many nuances.
No, of course not, because sometimes
There's too many nuances associated with that.
Some of our people have a higher perception or a higher opinion of non-black people. Like, we do have a self-hatred element in our people. I don't know why we want to act like that doesn't exist. Maybe that's our problem.
No,
we keep ignoring.
that point.
Hold on.
I'm agreeing with that part.
Keep ignoring
that part
I agree with that part.
ignoring, and we'll acknowledge it systemically how we're addressing it systemically as a people. Because let me just say this: socially, when Asian people had an issue, right, when they were being attacked over coronavirus, they got together as a people. They didn't ask for your help. They didn't ask for anybody. They got together as a people.
Right.
And they systemically addressed their issue because they felt like they were enough. Now, they did politic to the rest of the world. Hey, y'all need to back off. And they pretty much gave out a warning. But when it came to them strategizing, they strategized amongst each other. The first thing we start doing is we want to make our movements and things like that multicultural. Why? Because it's embedded in us that we're not enough.
And I could just make this analogy really quick. I agree with what you're saying because I think when we growing up as a black woman, like when you see that, especially where I come from, and we're all from Miami, so I can say this, especially in Miami, it's not the norm to see so many black businesses in Miami. When I came up here to Atlanta, it's totally different.
Yeah, that's true.
You see so many more black businesses, and it's like, dang, we can make this happen. You know what I mean? Like, it can be more of us out there coming together and getting this thing rolling. So therefore, the mindset, it changes, it shifts. You know what I mean? So I think that's probably what it is. Like, it's the whole growing up and seeing, not really seeing it in front of us, not really seeing it happen. So we more so can be conditioned or programmed to feel like it won't work.
And for those who don't believe we have a negative disposition, just look at that 1954 doll test. If you think it's not in us as young people.
All right, can I say something? All right, so what I'm gonna speak specific. When you specifically say women say most black men cheat, it's unfair for a woman to make that statement if that's all she dated is black men. One, if she's dated other than black men and she's not still in that relationship, it's double insulting because that one didn't work either. So speaking specifically to that, that's where I disagree. Now, the predisposed to us hating each other, I agree. And I agree with the source that you cited, Willie Lynch. That was part of that agenda. So I agree with those parts. But sometimes we group all this stuff together and it's not really applicable. It just sounds good to say. So when we gonna do it, or if we do it, or when we do it, we gotta do it, and we gotta make sure that we're clear on the specifics. So now I get it. Like, I understand. Like, you women have taught me some things that I didn't realize how we damaged you, And that's part of my conversation now when I speak to people. I had a conversation with my son. He wanted to go out of town. He wanted to bring the little girl with him. Oh yeah, daddy, she can stay. No, son. The moment is not more important than doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
Because now I'm open to what I'm being told on the damage, and I don't just hear you speak about it like I see it. I sometimes look at you and I can hear the vibration in your voice when you speak on it. So when a person gets to that level, I get it. So yeah, okay, I'm in line with that. But when we get in line with that, and I just want to keep our conversation so unbiased where we don't speak on it in reference to it being, or the men, and that goes back to your point, H, the men being always categorized as the agitators, because sometimes that come in a female form.
Absolutely.
All those problems that we have in society, some of that comes in a female form. And I hate to go down this road, but it's something for us to think about, but I don't want to get too far off topic. The first woman a man love is who?
His mama.
Exactly. And our mamas didn't have the best upbringing and the decisions they had to make and go through and the things that they were challenged with. So now we just saw that, like when you said your mama say, lie to the bill collector. So we begin to lie, like it's being installed in us to do these things. So that's why I tell a person the way we was raised was a lie. Not everything, but there's a lot of little pieces that developed us and got us in these thought processes that have us opposed to one another. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and that's where we gotta make and this is where I go back to my original theory from show one. It's about making the conscious decision. Like, I could have gave my son that opportunity to be with that little girl, told her mama anything and walked away from that. But I'm choosing to do otherwise. And when I do that, I love who I begin to see in the mirror.
Yes, that's it right there.
I love that person that I'm seeing in the mirror. So anytime we have these different strategies or these different things that pull away from us in society, again, go back to that person in the mirror, because we know right from wrong. It's what we're doing is we're buying into our guilty pleasures. And I think you said it, which was good. It was counter to what you were saying. You can look at your mama, how you worded it, like you can be doing something that hurt somebody and be apologetic about it and walk right out the door and continuously do it.
Right.
Like, and I could attest to that, because as much as I'm saying, man, I shouldn't be doing it. When the opportunity came, let me get in one more time. And again, my guilty pleasure at that time was more important than doing the right thing. So now we as adults have to decide to just consciously, continuously, consistently do the right thing.
Make those choices. My pastor said something one time that always, whenever somebody's talking about choices, I always think about it. He says that when you're born, you look like your parents. When you die, you look like your choices.
Yeah. I totally agree with that.
And that's
totally
very,
agree with that.
I never heard that, but
I
that's
totally agree with
yeah.
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah, that's very deep.
I gave one from that day.
Pass the plate around, y'all. Pass the plate.
That's deep.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna go back to some of these comments on here.
Yeah, we got quite a bit of them, but they basically
Wow, that's deep.
Miss Henderson said sometimes cheating is a response to a relationship that already had problems. Cheating is a symptom of another issue. And I totally agree with that. Yeah, that's
what's
old
going on,
fish.
Sean? Shout out Cynthia, class of 90, Miami Central Senior High School. Cooley C on the mic.
So I definitely agree that cheating could be a symptom of another issue. And so that's what my thing is always, let's deal with our unresolved issues. Like at the end of the day, in order to rebuild trust, in order to build a healthy relationship, you have to find somebody that you are comfortable and able to be open and honest and transparent with. If you don't have somebody that you feel like you can tell your most deepest, darkest secrets to, then that's probably not the relationship that you need to be in. You know, because the person that you're supposed to attach yourself to is supposed to be just about the closest person to you. You know, I
best
mean,
friend.
if we being real, you know, and if you feel like you can't, if you feel like whatever could be hindering you from being, you know, transparent with them about your past, about, you know, your desires, about your dreams, about your, you know, your fears or whatever the
Whatever
case
it
is, and you feel like they won't accept it,
That's
you know, that may not,
That may not be the person for you.
right? That may not be the person.
They can't hear us. Somebody said, Jonita said she can't hear us.
Can you hear us now?
Volume fine. She doesn't.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Turn your media volume up,
and,
sis.
and also, I also looked up how people can come back from cheating, and they did offer counseling. Sometimes you do need a third party to be objective.
I agree with that.
Because a lot of times, going to what you said, a lot of men or women won't understand why the person just can't let it go.
Right.
And so it will take, because coming from the person you're involved with, it's just going to look like they're nagging and they just can't get over it. So the benefit of a third party is necessary because
I
sometimes even the person who's, and then the thing about being transparent and honest, sometimes the person doesn't do a good job at communicating what they feel. But a person who's been cheating, been cheated on, has gotten over it, or maybe still dealing with, can help you understand what you did to that person.
Yeah.
Because not everybody's a good communicator.
Right. Yeah, I think that would probably go for the ones that don't, you know, go for counseling. Maybe,
Just as, I'm
maybe,
saying third party.
yeah. I'm going to say,
counseling's a dirty word.
yeah, and I'm going to say, I'm going to push it a little further and say maybe even a fourth party. Maybe find a couple that has been through what you're going
That's
through.
good. That's good.
And so that way, that man can relate to that man, that woman
good.
can relate to that woman. And then now you're like, okay, because you're not looking at someone like, you don't know what you're talking about. You haven't even gone through this, but you're trying to tell me how I can, you know, overcome this situation. Maybe find a couple that you can relate to and that has gone through that. And now they're at a healthy point in their relationship.
But make
That
sure they
helps.
relationship healthy first.
Right.
Don't go sitting up with no toxic folks trying to get no.
Definitely.
Yeah, proceed. Like
definitely.
check them out first. See how they communicate with each other. See,
Yeah.
you know, how they conduct themselves in their relationship as much as you can possibly.
And that's the benefit because I've seen. I'm sorry, were you about to speak?
No.
Oh, I've seen and have participated. At least I don't know what they did when they left, but talking some men off the ledge when they were contemplating as a solution or as a temporary fix, cheating on their mate or their spouse. And that's, you know, you got to have somebody in your corner because
Yeah,
it's just
definitely.
very hard. And sometimes when your emotions are involved, you can get very irrational. And that is a human trait that we're all capable of and have probably
That's true.
exhibited.
I think Nitra was about to touch on it earlier. Not to attack men. It's just not, I'm just saying because women are more emotional. You have to understand sometimes, men, like when the trust is broken, sometimes because we do operate on emotions, that a healing process may come in the beginning with us not ready to lay down and have sex because it's hard for some women to emotionally connect being hurt, you know, during in the beginning of that process. I'm just saying, like, you do have some women.
For me, I actually went through
I
that.
did too.
Yeah,
I went
most
through
people
that.
do. I'm just a little different.
Where it was, now, you know, we did have sex when it got to the point where I wanted to get me, you know, to get off. So I said, hey, come on, let's get this out the way. But was I completely into it? No.
No, it's probably just for gratification.
Right.
It wasn't for connection.
Right.
And sometimes, you know, sometimes that's the reason. It ain't got nothing to do with wanting to connect. And,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? It's just strictly gratification.
You're the only one here.
So we have Miss Andrea says,
but for the ones that can't, because you do have you have some women out there, like, and I was one of them.
right.
Like, I
Most
can't
people are
lay
like
down
that.
with you, like,
Yeah.
thinking about that. And so, you know, that help.
Yeah.
I do need that, you know.
And
Yeah,
that's
most
the
women
difference
like that.
between us and men. See,
Yeah.
men can lay down
Yes.
after hurt
Right.
and be okay with it.
You know, I'm a little different. Like,
You can't lay down after hurt.
Really?
Say what?
You the first man I heard say that.
I'm gonna be
haven't.
honest with you. Like,
I've never heard a man confess
I'm gonna
it.
say this. Like, if me and my
He's a
woman,
sapiosexual. That's why.
yeah, I'm attracted. I'm turned on by the mind. And if me and the sister, because
Got
with
it.
all due respect, and this is gonna sound so bad, I've had a lot of dumb sex, and that just don't work for me. So the sister has to have
That's
You
not
know,
bad.
So she got to read a good book.
Intellect.
Why you playing if I give you it's glad you read the chapter, boy? Hey, play with it.
She gonna better read it. I know why the cage bird.
There you go. Hey, we gotta get it. Kill 'em
Let me read Ms. Audrey's comment on another note. But the person has to be willing to hear the other out, even if they don't want to, because you must allow the individual to let you know how your actions was affected their lives. That's true. And then she said, yes, it is.
Okay, I want to say something.
It may hurt you to hear about what you've done, but it's hurtful for them to even get all about it as well. The worst thing to do is to keep it bottled up inside. And I just want to say that when people have the occurrence of being cheated on and they want to talk about it, it's not that they want to just keep reliving it or rehashing it. They're trying to get through the level of understanding that why, like what happened, where
did we go wrong? What did I do? What could I have done?
And it's nothing. We gonna say that. Likely, nothing is the answer, but it doesn't stop you from thinking. You know that
I could have did something different.
Yeah, maybe just leave.
Maybe.
That's your solution. That's your solution to everything. Just leave it. Just leave it. Get out of there.
Let me say this.
And you're probably right. You're probably right.
Listen.
No. Hold on.
We're talking about retailing tonight. We're talking about destruction.
Hold on. No, I agree with her. I agree with her. No, but I agree. Sometimes,
sometimes you gotta go.
Listen, self-preservation is the first, because I've seen a lot of good sisters be destroyed. Hanging in there. And the worst part about it is when the right person comes along, you're too broken
to recognize it,
to get the person that God really had for you. But let me just say
that might be why I recover so easy, because I get the hell on quick. I ain't got no hang in there.
I've had a hang in there.
And no, that's a good trait. You know, that's a good trait.
It is. Some people will say forever.
No, that's
I won't say forever.
Because no. Let me tell you something. Leaving quickly is the best thing you can do, because don't take yourself to the point of wasting your time, somebody else's time, getting married and then getting divorced.
Right.
So leave quick before all that stuff even gets on the table. But let me just say this, and I mean this sincerely.
Yeah, we all know.
Our goal for this show, and I want to see them say this real quick, is we really sincerely want to see more healthy, successful Black relationships. That's where I am. I'm tired. I'm tired of divorces. I'm tired of the people hurting one another unnecessarily, because let's just face it, disappointment is a part of life. And I just think the community, we're not going to rebuild our communities until we rebuild our families.
Absolutely.
That's number one. And our children cannot continue to believe in just rhetoric alone. We keep trying to teach our children that healthy relationships are possible, but have very few examples to show them. And we gotta stop trying to teach out of contradictions and hypocrisy, and then turn around and look at our children and ask them why they're not doing better, because we haven't shown them all that. Do as I say
and not as I do.
We need to get rid of ignorant stuff like that.
Yeah,
and we need to start practicing what we preach. And have something tangible that we could show them.
That's right.
I agree. So I'm just going to go and read through these bullet points real quick for anybody that missed the 9 bullet points on how to rebuild trust. Y'all get y'all pens and y'all paper out right quick, or turn your audio recorder on, because I'm going to read through these really, really quick. We over our time. So the first thing is to understand you cannot do it alone. Both parties have to be present, willing, and open to go through the process. The second thing is openly apologize. Don't be saying I apologize because you sent the smoke screen. Apologize for real. Write a note, send a message on Facebook, however you want to do it. Verbally, written, however. Openly apologize. Number 3, reflect on the experience. Give the man or the opportunity, give them the chance to talk about what happened. You be open, you be honest. If you the person that broke the trust, and we ain't just talking about cheating. Whatever you did to break the trust, give them the opportunity to talk about it. I don't care if they want to talk about it every day at dinner. Talk about it if you want to get through this process. Number 4, create new memories. Go somewhere y'all ain't never been. Number 5, remember about the relationship. Remember that people can be trusted. The relationships that you do have that have solid trust, reflect on those. Think about those instead of thinking about the ones that got broken trust. Number 6 is ask for what you need. Be open, be very, very honest, and very, very transparent on what you're going to need to get through this process. Number 7, be willing to be vulnerable again. Take the walls down, put the ego on the curb. Go take it out to the dump. Garbage day. Number 8 is reignite the connection. And number 9 is focus on the future. You might have to get creative. Do a vision board to rebuild your relationship. Do a vision board for your relationship. We do it for everything else. Do a vision board. I just did a live yesterday where we talked about we were going to do a vision board for self-care. So we should be able to do a vision board because vision boards just help you visualize what you want to see. So if you want to see your relationship healthy and the trust be rebuilt, do the vision board to reflect that. So that's what we have for tonight, guys. We want to thank you so much for tuning in to the G Spot.
Yes.
Yes, your relationship can be rebuilt. Good night.
That was right.
Okay, let's go ahead and try that again. Thank you for tuning in to the G Spot.
Where you got to grow.
Or you got to go.
Good night, guys. Thank you for tuning in.